Yes, good morning, everyone. Just a little bit ago, we officially certified the election results, making the results official, including the passage of Prop 139. Arizonans have an advocate for reproductive freedom as their governor, and I was so proud to sign the certification. But before that, when I first took office, I was proud to issue an executive order protecting women and doctors from prosecution by radical county prosecutors, and I want to give a special thanks to Attorney General Mays for helping make that happen. I also made birth control available over the counter and vetoed several fetal personhood bills, and most recently repealed the 1864 total abortion ban. And the fact that we still had that ban in law is really a big part of why we're here today. Arizona has a record of draconian bans on abortion, including this 1864 ban, but also, more recently, a 15-week ban with no exceptions. And every single legislator who voted for that 15-week ban voted to reinstate the 1864 ban, because that law contained a trigger for the 1864 ban when Dobbs was issued. This is a 15-week ban with no exceptions. When that ruling happened, we saw chaos and confusion. We saw that chaos and confusion again when Arizona's Supreme Court upheld that 1864 ban this last April. Doctors were unable to perform their jobs. I talked to women across the state who were hesitant to start a family or didn't know what this meant for their existing pregnancy. This was the result of decades of extremists trying to control women's bodies in Arizona. 23 governors before me and 56 legislatures before the one here couldn't or wouldn't repeal this law, and I'm so proud that we got that done. But even with that repeal, we still had an extreme ban in place, and Arizonans said in this election that they have had enough of these out-of-touch politicians trying to force their beliefs on us and make medical decisions for us. But with the power of our votes, we made our voices heard. And I want you all to take note of the women here in this room. We are mothers, daughters, sisters, and wives. We're your coworkers, neighbors, and friends. I can say from my own experience that I had conversations with my daughter, with my son's girlfriend, about what their future looked like if they couldn't make their own healthcare decisions about when to start a family, to decide what their lives would look like. And this is something that women across the state have experienced. So this new law, Proposition 139, is so necessary for women across the state who are faced with these decisions, for women whose stories, like Ashley, had to wait until she was hospitalized to be able to get the care that she needed, for Kristen, who had to leave the state to get the care that she needed. We heard stories, horrifying stories from Texas and Georgia, Amber Thurman, Candy Miller, Josella Barnica, who all died because they couldn't get the reproductive health care that they needed. And that is not going to happen in Arizona. Letting women suffer or die is not pro-life. Not letting them choose their futures is. The results of this election leave no question about where Arizonans are on the issue of abortion access. This initiative passed with over 60% of the vote, with support from Democrats, Republicans, and independents. And it passed with a lot of work from a lot of people, both here in this room and otherwise. And I want to take a moment to recognize the outstanding leadership that got this done. First of all, the campaign leadership on Prop 139 of Arizona for abortion access. So many volunteers who gathered signatures, who knocked on doors, who made sure Arizonans know what was at stake in this election. women who courageously shared their stories about what lack of access to reproductive health care meant for them, and to the lawyers who defended us in court over and over again. So I will end with this. Abortion is health care. Reproductive rights are human rights. And I'm happy to stand up for both of those things. And now Arizona has the right to abortion enshrined in our state's constitution. Congratulations to everyone here who worked so hard to get that done, and to Arizonans who made their voices heard to get this done. I'm so proud of the work we did. I know there's more to come, and with that, I will turn it over to Chris Love, who has been an advocate on this issue for as long as I can remember, and Arizonans are so lucky to have her fighting on our behalf. Chris Love.
Well, thank you. Hi, I'm Chris Love, and I think today is my very last day as the spokesperson for Yes on Prop 139, Arizona for Abortion Access. So a little more than 2 years ago, a small group of us representing organizations fighting for reproductive health care sat in a conference room kind of like this to celebrate Governor Hobbs' victory and to plan a ballot initiative to secure abortion access in our state. A year ago today, Arizona for Abortion Access was in full swing. And boy, did Arizonans understand the assignment. Through some pretty shocking twists and turns, including the reinstatement and repeal of a total ban from 1864, we collected more than 823,000 signatures from all 15 counties, making Arizona history. Our more than 50 endorsing organizations knocked doors with us in the Arizona heat to ensure our victory. And on election day, more than 60% of voters said yes to Prop 139 because we all fundamentally believe that pregnant patients should be making personal and private healthcare decisions with their medical providers and not government. Arizona spoke decisively, which brings us here today to witness yet another history-making moment. We have so many people to thank for this victory. First, thank you, Governor Hobbs, for allowing us to witness this momentous event as the Arizona Abortion Access Act becomes part of our state constitution. Governor Hobbs has always been a steadfast champion for reproductive rights and abortion access. She supported our campaign even before we were an actual campaign. And so we're grateful for everything that she's done to fight for meaningful access to abortion and the full range of reproductive health care, thus ensuring a brighter Arizona for all. So thank you, Governor Hobbs. Thank you to the Arizona for Abortion Access team, many of whom are standing behind me here today, including our executive committee, our steering committee, our PAC chair, Dr. Liu, standing over there, and all of our wonderful campaign staff and consultants, and our partner organizations. Thank you all so much for your hard work and dedication to protecting abortion in our state. So thank you, everyone. Thanks to the more than 7,000 volunteers who refused to let Arizona go back to 1864. From Bullhead City to Yuma and all parts in between, they knocked doors in storms and record-breaking heat. They talked to their families, friends, and perfect strangers about why Prop 139 was so important. They told their personal abortion stories, some for the very first time. And with every interaction, they won over voters, leading to our resounding victory. So thank you to our volunteers statewide. Thank you to our amazing storytellers. We know that storytelling is the most powerful way for voters to personally connect to any issue. And you shared your experiences at great personal cost. But because of your bravery, voters showed up for you and for all of us. So thank you, Ashley Ortiz, Erica Mock, Jennifer Sheets, Joanna Sweat, Kristen Cambardella, Morgan Finkelstein, Nicole Wachter, Dr. Misha Pangasa, Dr. Paul Isaacson, and our nearly 50 other courageous storytellers throughout the state. We owe our success to you. And finally, thank you, Arizona. Yeah, you all came through in a big way, and now we can all rest easier knowing that abortion access will be enshrined in our state constitution. Further, we can all say the word abortion with a bit more ease, which was a personal thing of mine. And if anyone thinks that they're going to undermine the will of Arizona voters, they should think again, then move right along, because Arizona is watching and we won't go back. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to pass it along to Morgan Finkelstein, my friend and one of our amazing storytellers.
Good morning. This victory is hard fought and well deserved. Arizonans have spoken and they want to restore sanity in our state by putting our important healthcare decisions back where they belong, between the doctor and patient. After too many years of uncertainty and instability, we are relieved to look forward to having abortion access restored and protected through this constitutional amendment. We're fortunate to have a dedicated abortion champion in our Governor Katie Hobbs to certify these results today, and we will hold our legislature and courts to the voters' values and intent. Restoring abortion access after decades of anti-abortion extremism will ensure that doctors, like Dr. Pangasa, will want to practice in Arizona. Even before the fall of Roe v. Wade, when the specialized abortion procedure I needed was still technically legal, it was unavailable. My husband and I were so happy to learn that I was pregnant with twins just 3 weeks after our wedding at my advanced maternal age of 37. We were excited to learn that it was a girl and a boy. We couldn't wait to share our good news, and we decided their names and were picking out wallpaper for their nursery. And then, at what was the last appointment we would ever look forward to, we learned that our male twin had a critical heart defect. The doctor was clear, carrying him to term presented high risks for him, for his perfectly healthy twin sister, and for me. The doctor explained that multifetal pregnancy reduction, or more commonly selective reduction, was the safest course of action. Although this procedure is medically quite simple, she only knew of one facility in Arizona that could provide it. Later that evening, she called to inform me that this facility could not take us, but that she was calling doctors she knew all over the country to find the care we needed. She said to have my bags packed and be prepared to leave town on a moment's notice. So as the world was shutting down due to COVID, I was 20 weeks into my twin pregnancy. We were safely saying goodbye to our boy twin, Twin B, in an operating room in Los Angeles. This simple, quick procedure was the safest, most responsible thing to do. It was a procedure recommended by a doctor, performed by a doctor in a hospital operating room because it is healthcare. Healthcare that we had to cross state lines and pay thousands of dollars up front in order to access. We returned home where I continued to carry our healthy daughter and our dead son for the remaining 4 months of my pregnancy. I went into labor in July of 2020 and gave birth to our healthy baby girl, Twin A, as she was labeled, and then to Twin B, our demise, as he is labeled. They were both safe vaginal deliveries. My pregnancy and birth was traumatic enough without having to leave Arizona for critical health care that was even technically legal at the time. Our overall sense of safety and basic human dignity was compromised by the state we love and call home. And yet, it could have been so much worse. The passage of Prop 139 means that countless expectant mothers in a situation like mine won't have to experience my nightmare, or worse. This puts an end to the brutality of Arizona's abortion ban and will ensure that these most personal, private, and difficult decisions are back where they belong, with women, their families, and their doctors. Thank you. And now Dr. Pengasa.
Good morning, all, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to speak on this momentous, incredible moment in Arizona's history. My name is Dr. Misha Pengasa, and I am an OBGYN who takes care of people through the entirety of their lives. I have the privilege of talking to my patients through puberty and periods, pap smears and pelvic pain, through their pregnancies, miscarriages, and abortions, all the way to menopause and beyond. But for as long as I've been practicing, and much before that, politicians have tried to carve abortion care out of that. They've capitalized on people's fears and created shame and stigma to pass restrictions and regulations and hurdles to make abortion care something other, as if it somehow exists in this completely separate space than the rest of healthcare. But as a physician who has seen millions of people through their reproductive journeys, and as a woman, I have always known that abortion care is an integral part of healthcare. It may not be the right decision for everyone, but access to abortion care and the freedom to make that decision is absolutely essential for people to live their healthiest lives and to build healthy families. And this November, Arizonans affirmed that they know this too. Millions of people went to the ballot, many of whom said, I may never need an abortion, or I may never agree with someone else's decision to have an abortion, but that decision is private, and every person deserves the right and freedom to consider their health, their families, their lives, their futures in conjunction with their healthcare providers to make the best decisions for them, and the government has no role in those decisions. I have to mention that I've always considered Arizona my home. I was born and raised in Yuma, went to college in Tucson, but I pursued my medical training and my early career in New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. In 2022, as the fallout of the Dobbs decision was wreaking havoc on communities throughout the country, I desperately wanted to come back to my home, to my family, to my community here in Arizona. But I really didn't know if I could practice medicine in a place where politics ruled over medicine in such a huge way. I didn't know if this was the place where I would have the confidence to build my own family, given how much I know, and we all know, about the morbidity and mortality of pregnancy and how much worse that can be without access to comprehensive reproductive health care. The Arizona for Abortion Access Coalition, later Prop 139, is what gave me hope. And in 2023, I made the decision to move back to Arizona and make this my home again. And this November, my fellow Arizonans affirmed that we will support each other, we respect each other, and we believe in a better world in which people have the freedom to make their own healthcare decisions, and that the shame tactics, access barriers, and politics of the governing party have no place in that. I want to thank everyone who worked so tirelessly to make this a reality, and to all the Arizonans who cast their vote, and to Governor Hobbs for your unrelenting support of reproductive freedom. Our fight to ensure that all people can build the families they want with dignity and autonomy will still continue, but the victory of Prop 139 is absolutely foundational to our better future, and I've never been more proud to call Arizona my home.
Questions? I do want to start on topic if folks have on-topic questions. Stacey?
Actually, I wonder if I can pose a question. I see some providers in the room. I understand that, we now have the 15-week law on the books, obviously the mandate from voters. What do you take as the law going forward? Will you wait for a lawsuit to get the 15-week law off the books before you provide care under the guise of 139, or the guise of 139?
If you answer, would you step to the podium? Identify yourself, please.
I'm Dr. Paul Isaacson. A lawsuit will be coming very soon, and we'll, follow the results of that lawsuit.
I guess I'm sorry, my question was so poorly posed to you. I'm trying to understand, until there has been a ruling in that lawsuit, what guides your practice?
So the legal advice I'm getting is to, that we'll file the lawsuit and hope that we get a very quick resolution to it. But I'm not sure that every provider in the room shares that view. If anyone else wants to comment.
We know there's going to be the loss of the 15-week ban, of course, but there's a lot of other abortion restrictions on the books that have been added by the legislature over the years that could potentially be challenged. I was wondering if someone could speak to what some of the other laws that you all expect to be challenged under Prop 139.
Sure. In conversation with the lawyers from the Center for Reproductive Rights that have represented us for a long time, we have prioritized a list of existing laws to challenge. So the plan is to do this in a stepwise fashion, but rapidly.
Okay, what are those? I guess what are laws that are on that list?
Well, the 15-week ban, the reason ban, which bans abortions for genetic abnormalities, the biased consent requirement, the 24-hour waiting period. Those are the most important ones, and they go from there. There's a few more that I can't think of at the moment.
Can I ask a related question, Doctor? There is still a statute on the books that deals with parental consent for minors. Do you believe that Prop 139, which only talks about women, does not mention an age, that overrides parental consent?
I have, that's a good question for a good lawyer. I don't know the answer. Definitely amateur lawyer, but not lawyer.
Others?
And it's really just to clarify this, a lot of people might assume that the passage of the initiative means that the other laws are just null and void automatically. If you just talk about that, to ensure that there are people out there who believe that, just address that.
Again, that's a really, I'm not a lawyer, and so I'm not the best person to really answer that question. I know that our plan is to proceed through the courts. Or anyone, yes, please. Oh, my goodness.
I am a lawyer. I am the people's lawyer. I'm the people's lawyer, and I am a lawyer for the state of Arizona. So, what was the question? So, look, these are all great questions. What I would say is the position of the state of Arizona is that the passage of Prop 139 makes the 15-week ban and the 20-week ban unconstitutional. So as of 10:12 a.m. when the governor signed, there she is, when the governor signed the certification, it became unconstitutional. That is a separate matter from whether doctors and providers will be comfortable performing abortions after 15 and 20 weeks. There will be some providers who will feel comfortable as of 10:12 a.m. today providing abortion care after 15 weeks. There will be some doctors and probably large hospitals that will not until we see the litigation that these physicians were talking about. We expect, my office expects that litigation to come quickly, maybe as soon as Monday. And the position of the state of Arizona will be that we agree that abortion is legal in our state. And so we will be sued, likely, by various parties, and we will agree with the lawsuits. We will take the position on behalf of the people of Arizona that that the that the 15-week ban and the 20-week ban are unconstitutional. The other thing I wanted to say, and I think it's important to say this, is that there is another threat that we face, which is the possibility that the new presidential administration may try to pass or try to implement the Comstock Act, which would essentially enact a nationwide abortion ban by making it illegal to mail mifepristone, and would essentially try to nullify everything that these people just worked on and everything that the people of Arizona just passed. The president-elect may also attempt to make mifepristone illegal through a rulemaking process if Project 2025 is followed. And I will tell you this, that my office in the state of Arizona will fight that tooth and nail. We will not allow that to happen. That's what the lawyer has to say. So.
That might relate to what occurred on the second floor, if that's okay?
Yeah.
Governor, the Attorney General and the Secretary of State weighed in on the question of, is the age of election denialism behind us? We've got two very different responses. Okay, best 2 out of 3. What's your thought? You've been a Secretary of State, you've been a minority leader, you've been governor. Is the age of election denialism behind us?
Well, I did weigh in on that also, and I think my thoughts on that really are that we did our jobs today. We certified an election. I'm sure that some of us in that room didn't agree with all of those election results, and we did our job as required by law to certify them. That is the way things should work. And the people that were making all the noise about potential fraud, potential whatever, the people that instigated the attempted insurrection in 2020, they got quiet when they got the result they wanted. And so today we set the right example, and I hope that moving forward, people in these roles and people who participate in the process understand that the cornerstone of our democratic processes is that we accept election results that are conducted in a free and fair and secure manner, whether we like them or not. And as the governor, I will continue to set that example, as I have since I was Secretary of State, and my colleagues, the Attorney General and Secretary of State as well. I can't speculate on whether it's over or not, but I'll continue to do my job as required by law.
Well, you raised the interesting question. They said they got the result they wanted. Sometimes that doesn't happen. If the 26 election or the 28 election goes against some of the more vociferous.
I'm not going to speculate on what they will or won't do. What I can say is what we saw in this election, the folks that were the loudest about trying to overturn the results, they didn't do that because they got the results they wanted. These are elections that were conducted in largely the exact same manner under the same laws as 2020.
All right, we really only have time for 1 or 2 more, so Graham.
A question about the legal sequence of events here. It sounds like what A.G. Mays is describing is it might take a provider going ahead and providing these services to provoke or prompt a lawsuit, or is it that the Center for Reproductive Rights might file its own suit to strike down, to toss out the existing 15 and 20 week bans?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to take a provider being sued for providing abortion care. What I anticipate, obviously I could be wrong, but I anticipate that we're going to see a preemptive lawsuit by an organization to seek a declaration from a court that the proposition means and stands for the fact that the 15-week and the 20-week bans are unconstitutional.
Are you expecting a similar preemptive challenge by whether it's ACLU or Center for Reproductive Rights on everything else, 24-hour waiting period, clinic licensing, parental consent?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think that remains to be seen. We could see those kinds of lawsuits. I think, we could also see me issuing an attorney general's opinion on some of those issues. So I think there's a wide array of options out there, but a lot of this is unknown at this point. I think it's going to play out over the next couple of years. And then, of course, set against that backdrop is whatever we see coming from the federal government. Again, it's interesting that a Democratic attorney general is standing up here saying this to you all today, but we do have states' rights in this country. And we intend to vigorously protect our states' rights and this proposition.
Anybody on that side? Right, jump here real quick. This is in relation to the last press conference. So just within the last hour, this received a lot of attention. Secretary of State Fonda saying that Secretary of State for now. What is kind of your reaction to that, hearing that?
I didn't hear what you're referring to, but we just got through this election. It was a very trying election for many of us, and I'm not thinking about the next election right now. I am thinking about continuing to deliver for Arizonans on the issues that matter, like border security and housing affordability and our water future, and that's what I'm focused on.
Yeah. Governor, with Senator Hoffman returning to the Dino Committee, do you have any concerns about what that's going to be looking like, the confirmation process next year, especially given that some of your nominees had a difficult time before that committee in 2023?
My nominees are ready to go through the process of confirmation, and I want to remind folks these are highly qualified individuals who were vetted by a bipartisan transition team. They've been serving in their roles, most of them for well over close to 2 years now, and I expect a fair confirmation process in light of the agreements that we made with the president following the court case.
Last one, anyone? Ram.
This might be for Governor Hobbs or AG Mays, but another ballot measure became law today, Prop 314. What are the legal implications of that, maybe more for AG Mays, that might prompt you to step in and perhaps either stand in the way of that being enforced? Or is that just moved because of what's happened at the federal level?
I can tell you, the immigration?
The immigration.
Yeah. Good question. I'm Governor.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say that's on pause until the decision's made in Texas's law. And the Senate President himself said maybe we don't need to enforce it now, but I'll let you.
No, I think that's, hey, you make a great lawyer. No, I think that's our assessment of it as well. So we'll see what happens in the federal courts with the Texas case. Look, when I talk to my sheriffs, and when I talk to our police chiefs, what they tell me privately and what they say publicly as well is that 314 was a massive unfunded mandate. And so whatever you want to think about it, and obviously the people of Arizona passed it, and the people of Arizona want border security, it didn't come with any money attached to it. And I think it's deeply unfair to the people of Arizona, to our sheriffs and our police chiefs, to expect them to enforce something that they simply don't have the funding to do. Our legislature has barely funded our law enforcement agencies adequately to this point. In fact, they have not funded our law enforcement agencies adequately. So we'll see how it plays out legally, but it's also there's a monetary issue as well associated with it.